The setup, part 4. In connection to the reading I posted the other day, I want to clarify again that the message contained in that reading is the closest to the truth in my situation. So I use that truth as my baseline when discerning all the other defamatory readings and smear campaign content circulating in that community. So today I'll give you an example and an explanation of how they're doing this mirroring and triangulation. We have repeatedly seen the pattern of the karmic Queen of Wands versus the divine feminine Queen of Cups used in distorted readings. Now, contrast that with the truthful reading, the one that resonated deeply in my situation. It says that it involves what you call that? Divine connection. Where it was stated repeatedly that there was a King of Swords who lied to sabotage a specific connection. So the storyline mirrors, but it has a different villain in it. So let's cut through the bullshit and let's just say that this pertains to my targeting situation. And let's consider that maybe there is a King of Swords who's been lying about me. Say, for example, this person was telling people that I abuse him, but left out a significant chunk of the story where he'll never be accountable for. That there were also some nasty lies that interfered, that was intentionally spread to interfere a connection. But according to this gang stalking group, it was a karmic Queen of Wands wife sabotaging a spouse's connection with another woman that they portray as the divine. So this narrative creates a mirror situation of, let's just say, the truth of the situation. And of course, the triangulation is evident here. But as I will repeat myself again, the only thing is that in their version, I was the villain. So what clearly is happening here? I was scapegoated for the same things that they themselves are doing to me. And because I was portrayed to be a villain in the story, it allows another person to steal an essence in a role that was never hers. But of course, the truth won't be laid out in the open easy because the narcissist needs to take control and needs to keep on abusing you as a target. Dealing with a narcissistic group, everything now makes sense. The smear campaigns, projection, triangulation, the narrative control, the covert sabotage. Someone playing the victim while victimizing you and antagonizing you at the same time. And the use of flying monkeys. All of this point unmistakably to narcissism. And of course, with narrative control comes confabulation of stories like you're a drug addict or a prostitute, and simply rewriting history that you were an abuser. So why am I mentioning this? Going back to that truthful reading, it was also mentioned that someone was also taking someone else's experience and discrediting the experience of the true person who has that experience. Why? Because we're dealing with destiny-thieving copycats. So I'll give you a specific example of a tarot reader that made this yesterday that titled her reading "The Truth Is Out." They're being shamed so bad for hurting you. And the reader used the song Creep by Radiohead. And that's not random. I used to sing that song in was one of my favorite songs. And knowing the patterns I have experienced in this community, the stalking, those repeating words that you said privately, but they will repeat it in the readings, knowing what is happening in your life, but then twisting facts. The intentional triggering, the mirroring, well, this is not a coincidence, but a targeting situation. So the reading describes someone who betrayed a loyal, beautiful, kind person, which is an earth angel. Yeah, sure. And then you'll portray me as the devil girl, right? And now everyone around the betrayer is turning on them. So the reader even portrayed the victim as the Queen of Cups, which is significant because tarot energies shift depending on what the energy that one embodies, but not in this particular reading and not with this gang stalking group. So she casts her villain as the one who kept coming in and out, playing victim, making terrible decisions, and mistreating someone who never deserved it. And in the reading, the group around this person was furious because they finally realized that this person lied, smeared someone's name, and dragged their reputation. And this is a King of Swords doing this to a Queen of Cups. But here's the thing. This actually happened to me. So people might say, I might think that everything is about me because I'm a narcissist. But you see, the use of that song wasn't random. And that's how manipulators send symbolic messages to their target. It's like saying, notice us. We're taking from you. And psychopaths would want nothing for you but pain. So they know what you are going through. And they want you to feel that pain of injustice. And this fits the pattern that I kept seeing, where my energy and my experiences was being twisted, copied, and projected onto someone else. And that is destiny theft. So according to this narration, there is a King of Swords who betrayed this Queen of Cups. But in that reading, that I considered truthful, said that it was a King of Swords who lied to sabotage and interfered with a divine connection. And that is in a Leo reading. So other readers mirrored this storyline, always using the Queen of Cups archetype, which is the role that I truly lived through. You see, this wasn't a group turning against the betrayer, as they portray it to be. Because if you understand it clearly, it was a group serving that King of Swords and that opportunist attached to him to steal. So for a very long time, I have been discussing how these individuals are the evil that they talk about in the readings, which I know some people agrees. Because they've seen it for themselves. They expose themselves daily with their attacks, with their evil patterns of deception. One reader at one point talked about energetic forgery, and that is how I knew what was happening to me. Energetic forgery in the occult is when someone tries to imitate, hijack, distort, or overlay another person's energetic signature or identity for manipulation or deception. And when you put all the pieces together, everything they were doing, every tactic, every smear, every inversion, it all comes down to one motive, and that is stealing. If this will be taken to court, well, my experiences are legitimate. And if cybercrime studies these tarot readers' patterns, they were truly mirroring. Now let us see the star reading produced yesterday. I'll be connecting this to what we have mentioned about stalking. She titled her reading, they try to monitor your every move and then create rumors and accusations. This person is sick. Ignore it. So if you heard my old video contents, you will see that if you're going to base this on facts, it will make more sense that it was them doing this. The main reason why, as they were doing these attacks, I was exposing it simultaneously because time is important here to see the truth of who is who. I have called out some readers before saying that I caught them repeating words that I have said privately, then will twist the narrative to antagonize me in their stories. Not only that, there were also victims of gang stalking who was talking about the same pattern. How this content creators were taking someone else's content, having the same patterns. So why is time a necessary thing to consider? There was a YouTube creator who did something similar. And this individual was famous but was trying to destroy someone that she's copying from, who is just an upcoming star, who, unlike her, who's more established. Investigation turned out it was really her copying because the other person, although got lesser fans than her, is actually posting her creations first than her. Meaning, she's the one copying, then tries to destroy who she's copying. So when you study everything, considering the time when I caught them and expressing this to the public first, then later on, they will create a storyline about this, but you're the villain of the story, you'll understand the psychopathy. Now going back to the title, she even said, ignore her, she's sick. Well, they are. Now let's have another example of this. It says in this reading, they're monitoring your every move, then create rumors and accusation. Well, how? By twisting narratives. So there's another video that is titled Third Party is P/O and smearing the narc and dropping serious truth bombs about all their lies. So this reading was just produced today. Well, we all know that who they portray as a third party is the spouse, right? As we all know, I am dropping truth bombs right now. And this reading is a coincidence. LOL. So with the title alone, what she portrays as smear, then say it was truth bombs, and then you hear the whole message. What she's trying to portray as a smear campaign isn't really a smear campaign, but truth. Telling the truth about something is totally different from smearing someone. So according to her story, this victim of hers was obviously a person outside of the main relationship. So she was the real third party in the situation. So saying that she was also smeared by this narcissist. And now, the true partner, which is the spouse, is now telling the truth about this narcissist. So if we connect this to the previous reading, there was a Queen of Cups energy who was claiming that she was mistreated by a King of Swords. But I said that in comparison to the truthful message with another reading, it was in a Leo reading. So I concluded that it was a mirror situation of this, the thief who was playing victim to get a role. So let's say that this is a reading about the Queen of Cups that was allegedly victimized by a King of Swords. We would notice the inconsistencies because what happened with the narrative, if you think about it, they were creating narratives before that she was loved, she was admired, and that the karmic spouse is the one who's, not loved and is hindering a connection. LOL. And now she's claiming victimhood. So, we can really see the inconsistencies in their readings. So, did this really happen to that person? Or did this happen to me against a couple? If you want to mirror this experience and say that you were the mistress divine person, it's also impossible that you were the mistreated person before me. Because facts and evidence alone will oppose that. And I have lots. In fact, in studying all these triangulations, all the narration about the karmic wife, and let's say it wasn't true, but was only done for the sake of elevating the other person in their narratives, you would understand that this King of Swords and Queen of Cups was working together. If you understand and studied what narcissism is and in relationships, it's as if it was a narcissist's strategic discard to destroy the old supply just to justify and legitimize going to a new supply. This mistress switching roles with the wife to ultimately live in the glory of the person she wants to replace. And with the help of their flying monkeys, mentally, psychologically wanting to destroy the main spouse. But I guess it didn't turn out as planned, right? And it's more complicated than what it is because there was a couple out there saying I was the mistress because this creates a mirror situation of this situation. So if I cannot be the karmic wife, I'm the home-wrecking mistress to a twin flame, right? When in truth, this is happening to me. I truly believe that this energetic forgery is tied up with identity theft and just a big theft overall. Not only identity, but also in purpose and materialistically. Experiences are valuable because these experiences molds us to what we are. Whether those experiences are good or bad, it's yours and it's mine. Now, if the narcissist can rewrite your history and discredit your experiences, mirrors the same experiences and take it as theirs, then this is what destiny thieving is. That means the key in defeating these thieves is in those experiences in the past that they tried so hard to manipulate and lied about. So why won't I just speak up about this past? I saw a post and I couldn't agree more. It says, real evil is not the one who can be recognized by everyone. And real evil is the one that can manipulate 95% of the people into believing that it is victim. And provoke this 95% into destroying the 5% who can see and understand its reality. Real evil isn't the monster everyone can see coming. It's not the loud, obvious villain. It's the force, personified or collective that hides inside the appearance of innocence or goodness. True malevolence works like a mirror maze. It twists perception until people can no longer trust what they see. It thrives not by revealing itself but by shaping the narrative. So when people think of evil, they imagine something visibly hateful or destructive, but real psychological and spiritual danger comes from identities that look harmless, who speaks the right language, who mirror everyone's emotions, who play victim convincingly and weaponize sympathy. And this kind of entity doesn't fight the masses, it recruits them. The main reason why I have to delay speaking up the truth because something needs to be exposed first. The covert harassment, the flying monkeys, the lies, the smear campaigns needs to be visible first before it is understood. Because deception is deception and it is supposed to deceive you. So the 95% versus the 5% dynamic, in any group only, a small minority can perceive deeper patterns and spot deception or see behind a mask. And these are the patterns here: intuitive ones, mystics, empaths, truth sensitives, and autistics. The 5% are the ones who notices inconsistencies, false emotional displays, manipulative intent, the energetic signature beneath the surface. They recognize the truth not because they want to, but because they cannot not. The 95% on the other hand don't detect the manipulation because they take appearances at face value. And they want to be socially acceptable. They want social harmony more than truth. They are conflict averse. That's why when you speak up the truth, they see this as troublemaking or conflict. They are easily swayed by emotional narratives and they believe in what feels convenient. They trust charisma and not character, and this makes them vulnerable to the manipulator's story. So how does evil manipulates the 95%? A skilled manipulator, whether an individual, a group, a system, or a psychological archetype, knows how to first play the victim. So, and this is where I got fucked up because there's a lot of people who played the victim. 2, they frame the 5% as a threat. So if someone sees their true intention, they become dangerous. So the manipulator discredits the truth seer by calling them crazy, labeling them paranoid, jealous, or unstable, twisting their warnings into attacks, twisting your truth as smear campaigns, twisting your truths as a lie, getting others to view you distortedly. 3, they mobilize a majority. Once the 95% aligns with the manipulator, they become the enforcement. arm of the lie. And they don't even realize that they're being weaponized. They believe that they're doing the right thing, that they're compassionate, or it's the socially acceptable thing. This is why the 5% often end up isolated, punished, or scapegoated. And the 5% are targeted because they threaten the illusion. A manipulator cannot tolerate someone who sees behind the mask. So the goal is to silence, isolate, discredit, and overwhelm them socially and break their sense of reality. Not because the 5% are wrong, but because they are right. Evil is defined as anything that separates people from truth, self-awareness, or inner alignment. That is why they will tell you that the new third party nowadays is the real wife. Real evil doesn't need to destroy you physically. It destroys your perception, your intuition, and your trust in your inner knowing, your connection to the divine, and connection to reality. This is why it hides silently behind a bunch of incompetent flying monkeys. It recruits and punishes those who can see. The true threat to darkness has never been the masses. It's always been the ones who can perceive patterns others overlook. True evil will never look evil. And evil looks like someone strategically networking with a specific group of people in order to lie about you, to isolate you. My past is a dark place to be. That's for sure. You see, truth will never be in the surface. And of course, I have also done some things I regret but don't dwell on. I was walking completely broken, thinking that I deserved to be because I was always blamed to be. Until I gained clarity about this whole situation. There are perpetrators that brought me in my darkest place, yet was the loudest to play the victim. And I allowed these people to buy some time. Watch them play in my face. For a reason. Until it is time. Someone significant in this situation posted something about karma. The same time, the persecution just started. That was year 2017, around that time. He posted something about time and karma. It was a post about when a bird is alive, it eats ants. And when the bird has died, ants eat it. And one tree can be made into a million matchsticks, but only one matchstick is needed to burn a million trees. So way back then, I couldn't understand why. Until it all made sense years later that this person was always playing victim. It was never accountable. Blame me for everything. Gaslighted me. You see, I took more loss accepting this person back in my life because I gave my enemies the opportunity to manipulate the narrative. The enemies who wanted to change my destiny. But I still kept quiet. as I live the villain, and as this person conveniently lives as the victim with no remorse. So I took all the hit from people. So going back to that karma, just on relying on the patterns of these gang stalkers, they are the ones who often mentions about karma. Same ones who are persecuting me covertly. Meaning, they are the narcissistic group. And I truly believe that this specific person has something to do with that group / community who's been trying to kill me for years. Now, whether this person deleted that post or not, you see, our digital footprint is everywhere. There will always be someone out there who has it, seen it, and remembers it. And I truly believe that this person is also working with a snake who told me, ako kasing mabait. In English, I'm the one who's good. Then laugh about it sarcastically. So regardless of what they tried to rewrite and made me out to be the villain for years in their stories, there will always be clues that leaves truths. And I will be posting a screenshot that will give you a hint of what I was going through since year 2015 that no one can manipulate. You see, one thing about time and karma, what I agreed on in that post is that time truly is more powerful. That one tree can make a million matchsticks and only one can burn a million trees.